I'm sure you've heard this before though, but this is I think it's the first time that you've written a script to direct yourself.
Yes.
Did that feel in any way more creatively liberating because you're not working off someone else's material?
Yeah, you know, it's interesting that, you know, the thing that I found that I didn't expect actually was I expected that to be the feeling, like that, oh, I'm like free to do whatever I want and now woohoo, it's crazy time. But in some weird ways, I put so many sort of intellectual restrictions on the movie itself. Like the idea was so complicated.
Sure.
I know a lot of people have sort of seen the movie and sort of just, I think on one level you can watch the movie and be like, oh, it's girls with machine guns. It's a lark. It's fun.
Right.
But we made, in our minds, we made like a really complicated, psychologically complicated movie that's all about sort of comments on genre and comments on, you know, all sorts of craziness that I could go on for hours. But my point is that when you do that, when you put those kinds of sort of intellectual restrictions on yourself and on the movie, and not in a bad way.
Sure, yeah.
You really have a lot. You got a lot to look out for when you're shooting.
Yeah.
You know, and so the problem is, it's not a problem, but you're all the freedom that you thought you gave yourself, you took away from yourself.
Well, I guess the freedom is inherent in the scriptwriting process. That's the freedom. Would that be true?
Yes.
Would that be true?
Yeah. It's more. That's more true. Because I was going to say that, like, you know, when I made Watchmen or when I made 300, what I found out was that when I finished Sucker Punch, I felt no way from those other movies. Right. In this sense that, like, someone asked me, like, well, is Sucker Punch more personal? Is it more? Did
you feel any sense of like an obligation toward, like, you know, with 300 and even going back to Dawn of the Dead and things like that, there's people who are very familiar with where this came from. Do you feel like, is there an obligation towards those people, or is it like, no, this is how I'm doing it? And again, with Superman in the future as well, I guess that might apply.
I think the difference is, because I think Sucker Punch is the conclusion to those three movies. Like Dawn of the Dead, 300, Watchmen. Sucker Punch to me is like me sort of going, how did I get here? Like, what is genre? Like, why do I make these kinds of movies? Like, what is the why of this whole thing? And that's kind of what Sucker Punch is in response to for me. Like, I finished Watchmen just delirious from like fanboy furor, and not in a bad way, but just like, you know, out of my mind with the sort of the trying to understand the pop culture implications and what the genre kids expected and what fanboy kids, you know, that world. And so I think when I made Sucker Punch, a lot of it, the girls, the why girls? I'm like, because girls are like the holy grail of genre in a weird way. Like, you can't, no one's cracked that. You know, why, why World War I, why the Mecha, why all that stuff. That's all the language, the exact language. It's the culture of that world sort of personified. Yeah. And that's kind of what I was doing, chasing around.
Right, I see. And like, how challenging was this to bring from page to screen? Because there's a lot going on in this movie.
No, that's what I mean. It was really challenging. And that's why I said it wasn't like, you know, this liberating experience, because it's a
and like, how does it compare then to the initial, like, the imagine when you sat down on day one? I know you came up with this concept years ago.
No. I think
when you locked down the concept,
when I finished the script and I closed it and I was like, okay, it's done.
Yeah.
I think the first draft, which was like hard R, you know, totally like over the top R-rated movie, like could be NC-17. It's changed considerably from that point of view, and kind of to make it PG-13, I had to crush it back, but I think it's remarkably similar in its concept to what I set out to do. Yeah.
And for a film, I think of this sort of scope to work as well, casting is obviously it's crucial. It's perhaps the most crucial thing. Maybe the script and all those things are important as well. But what were you looking for when casting this movie, and what did you sort of see in the cast that eventually we'll see in the theaters?
I guess I felt like the cast has this, the girls anyway have this, each of them has this kind of strength that I really, you wanted them to be able to turn it on and off so that they could be vulnerable and strong and vulnerable and strong. And in kind, like Abby has the ability to be strong and vulnerable at the same time, which is a really interesting thing to me. Yeah. And the way that she and Emily's characters kind of switch roles and kind of switch positions in the movie, that was a complicated thing that we worked on really hard. And of course, Jenna's amazing, and Vanessa, you know, does a lot of stuff that you wouldn't expect her to do. She just really did an amazing job for me, and Jamie too. Yeah. You know, I think all the girls did really strong work.
Cool. Well, I have to wrap it up here, but Zach, great pleasure to meet you. Thanks.
Great pleasure to meet you. Thank you very much.